networking, referrals, strategies for success, and real-life stories from professionals who are building a business based on relationship marketing. Welcome to the Caerusnet podcast. Here, you'll learn how to stay connected in the local business community and become that person others get to know, like, and trust, and refer to. And now, your host, Caerusnet founder, Steven Zyskowski.
Welcome to the Caerusnet podcast. If looking good is important to you, this is a great podcast, and I think it's also going to be an inspiring one. I have with me today Jen McClure. She is with Mary Kay, and I am proud to say I'm a Mary Kay man myself. I mean, I love the products. I think they're fantastic, but there's so much more to Mary Kay. Sometimes I feel like some businesses get unduly reputation for, oh, it's just going to be all puff and it's not a business. Oh, right. Yeah. The guest I have with me today is Jen McClure again. Jen is awesome. She is heavily involved in leadership. She's an author. We'll talk more about that during the interview today, but I'm just so glad to have you on the podcast, Jen McClure.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, it's been a little while in the making, and I'm glad to do this with you. So let's talk really quickly about you and Mary Kay, just for our listening audience. You know, who do you take care of? Who's your ideal client? What gets you jacked up in the morning? Let's talk about Mary Kay.
Oh my gosh. How long is your podcast? Because I can yabba about Mary Kay all day.
Yeah.
So what gets me excited in the morning is to bring to people, and primarily, and I love that you are a Mary Kay man, and my husband is too, and y'all are both very handsome. It's true. And but I work primarily with women is the bulk of my clientele, and I love bringing to women what Mary Kay brought to me, and that was just a reminder that I deserve to invest some time in self-care, that helps you be the best version of you, and that is what you and your family and your community deserves. So I love working with women specifically in transition, because my heavens, we are professional people, we are community members, we are wives, moms, sometimes grandmas, sometimes becoming ex-wives or becoming empty nesters, and all of those seasons of transition, we kind of need to reinvent ourselves. So I love being a resource for women to remember that they're beautiful, they're powerful, and they have options in life.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned women in transition. So yeah, we might be talking maybe then a little bit about a different element of your business than just the end user, the person that you're helping make look fantastic. You're talking about then possibly somebody that might be interested in pursuing a career with Mary Kay. And I'm thinking that maybe you might have been in transition at some point to start your Mary Kay journey. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, actually, thank you for asking. This is actually my second time around in Mary Kay. And the first time that Mary Kay found me, I was had just come out of a career that I loved, but there were some stressors in our family that I just really needed to focus on being home. I had 3 small babies at home. I was homeschooling, and I just really needed to find myself again. I needed to find a positive community. Lo and behold, and this was not my intention at all, because I just came into the company to purchase my products half off. I did not think I had time for a business. I did not think I had a business brain at all, but I did want the community. I did love the products, and half off made good sense. So I stuck my toe in the water, and then quickly found out that the training system is phenomenal. And if you are willing to learn and you really care about people, you can be successful at this business. So the first time that what ended up happening was I did it like a hobby for about 3 years, and then my husband had a motorcycle accident. Fast forward, he's fine. But what there's always I'm a firm believer there's always a divine plan. So who knew that our plan B overnight would need to be our plan A? And it was. And Mary Kay fed the babies and kept the lights on for 10 years while he was in recovery from that accident. And then he was also had transitioned into a career in construction, which was not wisdom in 2008. But like, oops, okay, thank goodness for skincare and makeup, right? So that was the first season of transition that I was in when Mary Kay found me the first time. I actually ended up having a health crisis in 2014, and lost my business and lost a lot of things.
Just wanted to jump in on that one.
Yeah.
For the details of that, listen to one of my favorite podcasters. His name's Jason Tracey, and he's got a podcast called Coffee and Grit, and really just brings some great stuff out of Jen and that. So I'll put that in the drop down so people can hear that story, Jen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's super good. It was that podcast with Jason was really interesting because I did not expect to give that direction at all. But I was thankful for the opportunity to share a little bit more about that, because it definitely I call this what my chapter 2 of life. It's my chapter 2 in life. It's my chapter 2 in business. Because there was a season 2014 to 2018 when it could have gone really differently.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful to have emerged from the other side healthy and in a stronger version of myself, actually. So we came back to Mary Kay when like the bottom had dropped out in every arena that you can imagine. Marriage was on the rocks, finances on the rocks. Health was just really shaky, but I was strong enough to restart with Mary Kay and our team now. So I'm 4 years on the other side of that amazing decision, and our team is stronger than ever. I'm driving. We just picked up my 8th free company car. Yeah. No
That's
car
awesome.
payment, minimal insurance payment. I mean, it can be serious business if you are willing to work and grow and learn and fall down and get humble and get back up. So that has been my journey. So our team did a unit club for the first time this year, and that's a very big deal. So some people never find what they love in life, and I found it twice.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that we don't always understand it while we're going through some things, but sometimes we have to take a step back in life. We've got to take a step back, even from things we love doing, because for things to be in harmony, right? So many things do have to be working together. If one thing is dramatically off, it just can't help but bleed itself into other things. So I know for myself, any of the times I've had to take a big step back in life, and when you get to be in your early 50s or so, you've had a few of them, you come back stronger and clearer and more focused, and you've got purpose in what you do. So just before we move on to a little bit about your Caerusnet experience, I also like to go down memory lane really quickly at each one of my podcasts, because my business would not exist if I didn't have people willing to go to bat for me the way I go to bat for them, just willing to listen to things and bring me up in conversation, see if I could be helpful to somebody else. Who was it that told you about Caerusnet, Jen? Because I knew you joined before we went into the pandemic. So who told you about us? Let's give them some praise.
2 thumbs way up for Linda Suter. So, and thinking back, I don't even remember where I met her, some festival thingy, who knows, but she was one. And then there was somebody else as well.
You saw her recently at the Referraltopia Afterglow, didn't you? I think I saw pictures of you both there.
I did. I just adore her. She is very good people. But Linda mentioned it, and then literally within 48 hours, there was someone else that mentioned it as well. And it was just, getting back into what this chapter 2 of my business was going to look like. And I was like, dang, when you get the same message twice in 2 days, I'm going to make that call. And the other thing that I love about that was that you and I had connected in chapter 1 of my business. And I never, ever doubted your, intentions for me, that you care for me as a person. Even though I had lost my business, obviously I stepped away from Caerusnet because I stepped away from everything, but I never was concerned that there wouldn't be an open door for me when I came back. So
Awesome.
what a delight to have that conversation and say, hey,
Yeah.
remember me?
Well, that's the goal. I mean, yes, I certainly value my Caerusnet members, right? But this is something that a business should be doing when the capacity is right, when everything else is right. Otherwise, it's going to show and it's going to show up in a person's business, right? So, for me, I've had to say goodbye and hello and goodbye and hello a number of times. I just never look at it as final goodbyes and lots of hellos. So it's all good with me, and I appreciate that we have that relationship. So let's jump over to your Caerusnet experience a little bit as well too. Let's talk about so you started on the Brighton Wednesday 10 o'clock team with me. I think we were in person for a hot minute. Then the pandemic happened.
A teeny tiny little minute.
Yeah, then the pandemic
3
happened.
meetings.
I know. And then next thing you know, we're all in our homes and trying to figure out, how are we going to make all this work? And
Right.
then, we did the online thing for a while. You mentioned you had some life happen that you needed to step back from, and now you're back and you're stronger. And now you're on the Wednesday 8 o'clock team, because when you're looking at your schedule, you're like, I've got to get the networking done 8 a.m. to 9, because the rest of the day, it just gets crazy sometimes. And I don't want to feel like I'm dropping the ball. I want to be somewhere at the right place, right time. But let's talk about your own personal Caerusnet experience. Who's been a great relationship for you? Who's been, somebody in the Caerusnet network that has either been a great client that you've been able to help out, or maybe somebody who's been referring you, or somebody you had a great trust builder with, or somebody you like to refer? Just kind of highlight what you would think is a great success story.
Oh my gosh. There are so many. I mean, it really is, it's hard to pick one. I would say, I'll talk fast and maybe do a couple. So Jeff, is that okay?
Yes.
Jeff Tenbrook set up did some special and did a Google listing for me. And that, I mean, my goodness, that one thing has brought me so much business. And one of the things that I love about Caerusnet is that everybody in the group is really at the top of their game in their industry. So I don't know nothing about that Google stuff. Guess what? I don't have to, because I have a guy. So that has been super powerful right there. Amy Knight. Dang. So we did, this is great. We did a trust builder, and also I did her skincare at the same time. So I'm like, might as well, talk and work at the same time. It was amazing. And I hope that she doesn't mind me sharing, but she has been, ever since that experience, she has been a big fan. And she is like many women, even, I'm 57, so I'm not a child. I've been on the planet for a while. There are women in my age demographic that nobody ever took them aside and gave them good advice about skincare and makeup. And like it or not, people do tend to first impressions are very powerful. And if you particular gentlemen and ladies alike, if you are put together, people perceive you differently. So I love
absolutely true.
I love her and her heart, and but her passion for our products after I had that experience with her has been amazing. She refers me a lot, and is always just so gracious and thankful that we invested that time together.
Well, it sounds like the beginning of a long and wonderful relationship between the two of you, for sure. And so just a plug, yes, I recognize that the majority of your clients are ladies, because men, at least right now, most of us don't wear makeup. Maybe that'll change in the future, Jen, the way things are going. You could have a larger audience than you're anticipating. But for myself, I really love the SPF facial lotion, because I've had some skin cancer before, and I like knowing that I'm just getting already some protection, just keeping my face hydrated. I'm 53 now, 5.3. I just had an update. And I feel like my skin looks great. Feels like it looks better now, maybe than it did when I was younger. Aftershave, the shaving gel, the facial wash. So here's the other thing I really like about it too. It doesn't break my bank to do business with you. I know that the sky's the limit in terms of the amount of money people can spend on skincare, right? But your products, in my opinion, really are priced for your everyday person. They're not, I think the pricing's spot on. The product is spot on.
Thank
I,
you.
I know you're not going to argue with that.
No, we are considered a prestige brand at a moderate price point. That is definitely something that we have in our corner, as well as 100% satisfaction guaranteed, as
Yeah.
well as we have no territories, so you can shop with me in person or online. And also you always get, I am highly trained. I know our products inside and out and can make recommendations for you. So, so I love that. I have people that come to me and they're like, dang, I have a whole drawer full of products that I thought I was going to love and I don't. And I'm like, you never have to be that lady or gentleman again. So we'll make sure you get products that are just right for you.
And I'm just a little curious, before I get into the last question, which is about advice for new members. I wanted to ask you about, online and how doing some appointments online. My thought is you probably didn't do a ton of them prior to the pandemic. Just like I never ran any Caerusnet meetings online prior to the pandemic. Pandemic happens. After doing it for 4 or 5 months, I thought to myself, my goodness, okay, so this isn't going to be perfect for everybody, but I could see where this is going to really be helpful to a lot of businesses because they don't have to get into a car and go drive to a meeting every single time. And, now there's 3 hours involved in a 1 hour meeting. And so the major thing for me was that it changed, making it more efficient and easy. Like Trisha Turner, for example, she's able to be on a job site. Robert Pierce, who's this guy cleans house, he's cleaning a house and he's got his Caerusnet meeting going on. He's listening to everybody intently. And I know that because when I call his name to do his member minute, he's ready to go and he's on video. And so how has it changed your business in terms of you being able to consult with new people, getting in front of you and doing something online? I assume you still do a good part in person, but tell me about the online.
Great question. I'm at this point, I'm about half and half actually. So, what I love about it is that Mary Kay has always been no territories. So, so I was always at liberty to work all over the US. But I think until we were put in a position where that, virtual was the only option, we're kind of creatures of habit and tend to resist change, and I am no different. So I did not get those online skills until the day that I had to, and then I'm like, dang, I gotta sell some Mary Kay. This is how we pay our house payment. I better figure it out. So and I actually love learning, so it was perfectly fine. But being in a position to have to get those skills, now I have a much more confidence, much more freedom in my business. So my husband and I have recently decided that we love traveling. And if you're going to be traveling, for heaven's sake, make some friends along the way. And now my because of my traveling, with my empty nester husband, I'm working with girls in Tennessee, with girls in Kentucky, looking to bust out into Colorado. Thank you, Michelle Cosino. Shout out. Yeah, so it's phenomenal. I have, and I do it personally, and I teach my team how to work virtually. We do Zoom, there is Facebook, there is with samples, there's without samples. I just have this whole other leg of my business, and now I'm comfortable with it and love it. And yes, you can have your jammy bottoms on and everybody just thinks it's funny. Well, I actually don't right now, but I could.
I really appreciate that that Mary Kay doesn't try to break things into territories, so you can do that sort of a thing. That's a huge advantage. Okay. Also,
may I tag one more thing on there? The reason that works, and I love this, the reason that can work is because of one of our core values, which is we work by the golden rule. So if I have a client in Florida, and I have clients and team members in Florida, I sure do, and there is a Mary Kay lady that lives the next block over, that Mary Kay lady is my sister in business, and she will not try and muscle in on my person. We are very firm believers that what you put out comes back to you tenfold. And so there's never any competition about that, which is what allows that whole no territories thing to work. It's good.
Yeah, and that puts everybody in a, hey, we are in this together mode. And that's a very, very powerful, and people really do feel a sense of community in the things that they do. Okay, also, one of the reasons that I've also been looking forward to this podcast is because, Caerusnet, it's everybody, and Caerusnet is more than meets the eye to me. Sometimes if people have been a part of a Shmi and I or something in the past before, they might put Caerusnet in a category of being like something else, right?
So funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
But so people have stereotypes, and I understand how they happen. But Caerusnet and the people in Caerusnet are much more than meets the eye. So many great and talented, gifted people that are just so much beyond even what they do as a profession. You've written a book. You're a published author now. Can you share that with us?
Yes. Thanks for asking. Yep, it's actually right here. If you can see that.
Full screen. Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. The book is called Wisdom from the Wilderness, and it is about that 4-year health crisis that I mentioned. It was actually a mental health crisis, and I had a breakdown in 2014. So from all of this left the table, and I could not get out of bed. And it happens more than people want to imagine. A lot of people don't talk about it and suffer in silence, but depression, anxiety, all of that, and that really could have gone differently. And I'm thankful to have a chapter 2, but because I have been granted a chapter 2, I thought, you know what? If you go through things and then just kind of go on, maybe we've missed the point. I think we are called to share our life lessons and help other people be stronger and have hope. So if you had known me in that season and then to see me today, you'd be like, that's a miracle. Yes, it is. And if you need a miracle, you can get it too. So the story is intended to bring people hope. About a third of the story is how I got there, what that was like, and how I got better. But the second 2/3 of the book is very practical strategies. It's here's how you can stack the deck in your favor to not get there. If you are in a spiral of some kind, this is how you can get out. These are some of the lessons that I learned along the way. This is how you can support your loved one. Because I think sometimes that is because we don't talk about depression and anxiety, because there's a little bit of stigma to that, unfortunately. But because it's not talked about in a powerful way, like you can get better. This does not have to be a lifelong sentence for you. Because some of those things are lacking, people feel like they are alone, and there's not any hope, and there's not any resources. And my mom, your mom is always your biggest fan, and I love that. But my mom said she said this book should be in colleges. This could be a textbook of how to survive and thrive through something like that. So Wisdom of the Wilderness is the name of the book. And I'm working on my second project, which will be an accompanying journal as well. So
I see a future referral topia talk here.
I would be honored. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
History in the making happening right now.
You let me know.
We'll definitely plan that. And in terms of being able to purchase the book, I know you're going to give me a link. Is it on Amazon? Where do people find it just generally?
Right now you can find it 3 places. I'm on Amazon, I'm on Kindle, and I also have my own website, which is called chapter2wisdom.com. And that is all spelled out, no caps, no spaces.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
it's not the digit 2, it's spelled out.
Well, I appreciate that you didn't just get right back up and go back to doing what you're doing without going, how can I how can I use this to serve other people? Because I think that you have a servant leadership mentality. It also allows people to get a little extra look at you. You know, you've written a book there. There's a lot of people that have thought about writing a book their entire life, but have never outlined it, never did anything with it. So you've accomplished something that I think is pretty fantastic. And I can relate myself, financial collapse for myself, 2007 and 8. I had to close the mortgage company. I went through a divorce, turned 5 homes back into the bank. I mean, I had everything you could think of all at once, lost my best friend. And I'm normally somebody who maybe prior to that would have been of the mindset, like if I heard somebody was depressed, I'd be like, what do they have to be depressed about? They're beautiful, and they've got a job and a family, and it's like you're very superficial in how you think about that until it's happening to you, and you're waking up in the morning and your hand is shaking all by itself, and all of that stuff. And so for me, it was something I needed to go through to really understand what that is, and also, like yourself too, to try to develop some tools. So if something like that was ever happening to me again, what are the things I could do to ground myself, and still be there for people? So I'm very impressed that you did that. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I did not know that about you, that you had a history with that as well. Once you have been through that, you actually can see it in other people. You know what that looks like. It's a vacant look in the eye, and you're like, dude, you might not realize you're in trouble, but I'm here to tell you, let's have a conversation. Yeah.
And some of it too has to do with just not knowing ourselves well enough. We get on that track in life and just start running 100 miles an hour, and we don't pay attention until we smash into a wall and go, what was that I was just doing for the last 5 years?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. But as we mature, hopefully we can do things like what you've done, which is serve other people. And if you can shortcut somebody's length of time that they have to be in suffering, that's a big deal, very big deal. Thank you for doing that. Okay, last question.
All right.
Hypothetical situation here. You're over at Brighton Coffee House, and you're having a trust.
That's not actually hypothetical. I'm there a bit.
I tell you what, we'll go deeper than that. You're visiting with Anna Oginski over at Brighton Lighthouse, and your next trust builder walks in the door, and it's a brand new Caerusnet member. They've never done networking before. They've never done anything, and they ask you during their trust builder, Jen, you've been doing this for a little while. What's the best piece of advice you could give me to get my membership off to the right start, to have a good Caerusnet experience? What would you advise I do?
I would say trust builders really are paramount, because that's where you really get to know people. I mean, my heavens, we've known each other a long time, and I just learned a piece of you that I didn't know, and we've known each other for years. So take those trust builders seriously, and also be open-minded, open-hearted to learning new things from the connections that the trust builders that I have had with people. I have learned so much about Trisha Turner, landscaping. Oh my gosh, she's going to come fix my house. I'm so excited. So not only learning about their industry, be willing to be enriched as a person, and also give back with that same vulnerability, authenticity, and dependability. I mean, I think that as I've gotten older, the thing that impresses me most about people is people who are willing to get up and do hard things. And I would say that every single Caerusnet member is serious about their business. They have been through the ups and downs. So they already, in my mind, have that stamp of Jen approval, because I know they're going to have integrity, and I know that they are honestly concerned about me and my business. You never have to doubt the intentions of the people in Caerusnet, and that is a beautiful starting place, right? With some other experiences that I've had with networking, you can tell when it's not about It's not about you at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
with Caerusnet, I think that, and I think that the kind, because your organization is how it is, we attract those kind of people that seriously do care about your success as much as their own. And so it's nice. It just cuts through some of the nonsense that you have to navigate elsewhere. I tell my team all the time, you mentioned my leadership and my Mary Kay team. I tell them, not all people are your people. And that is fine. We are finite creatures with finite capacity. I tell people the older I get, the less crapacity I have. I just don't have any patience with people who are not good-hearted people and people that don't have integrity. And you won't find any of those people in Caerusnet because they just don't last. They find out that this culture is about being others focused, and so the folks who are others focused stay and thrive.
Yeah, that's beautiful advice, and it's true. It's very true. If you're wired differently, if you're somebody that sees everybody as your competition, if everybody that you see you think of as, oh, that could be my next customer, you're looking past that individual themselves, right? And you're missing the complete point. And when you become somebody that when people see you, they want to run away from you because they know you're going to try to sell them something, that's a bad place to be. So I think that, there are organizations that are out there that like those competitive people and encourage competition. But for us, I think working together, how can we work together? Listen, abundance is the most unused word, most relevant unused word, I think, on the planet. I think that we shy away from this concept of abundance because there are so many forces out there that people identify with as trying to limit them. So to me, when you're with people that are in abundance, and that's what Caerusnet tries to attract, then all we have is stuff to give. All we have is stuff to give. And when we receive, it's like icing on the cake, right? It's like you get that referral. It's because of something you did 6 months ago, a year ago. These seeds you're planting, you just know you're planting good seeds that are going to grow. Well, Jen McClure, thank you so much for planting awesome seeds in Caerusnet, for making me look good, for helping other people figure out, how do they bring out the most beautiful part of themselves with the work that you do. And just so excited and so glad to have you in the network. Thank you so much, Jen McClure, Mary Kay Cosmetics, for being on the Caerusnet podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, Steve. I appreciate you.